See what old Brown does?
I'm sorry.
Mary, I'll ask.
Take their seats, please. Thank you. Thank you. Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking. If everyone could take their seats, please. And if the security would remove the heckler from that table over there, please. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hello. I'm David Rose, and I'm pleased to have been appointed to serve as your Master of Ceremonies tonight. I'm Gladys and Jerry Rose's only son and their youngest child. I grew up with three older sisters, to whom we have referred since my bar mitzvah as the Solidarity Sisters, Kathy, Toby, and Naomi. Now, you may wonder how I came to be your Master of Ceremonies tonight rather than either my mother or my father, both of whom are well suited to the task. And they are, after all, both your hosts tonight as well as the guests of honor. Well, a few months ago, Mom and Dad told the seven of us, their four kids and our three spouses, that we were to be the program committee for tonight. They made all of the arrangements otherwise. They arranged this, they arranged the menus, they arranged the table seatings, they arranged the bar and the music, and they also arranged, so I don't forget to mention it, the little display of Rose family memorabilia just inside the entrance, and also asked us to create a slideshow which is going to be on throughout the evening. Now, when they asked us to be the program committee, we soon realized that none of us have any particular talent. None of us sing, none of us dance, and if we tried, none of you would be happy. Unless public speaking counts as a performing art. But by the end of the evening, I hope you'll know my folks a little bit better and have a great time as well. On behalf of my parents, I'd like to welcome all of you here. People have come to Saskatoon from all over Canada and the United States to celebrate with my parents and celebrate their 50th anniversary. And for those of you who are less familiar with Saskatoon, you know that we are now in the center of the universe. Now, the program will continue with a brief description of my parents' lives, both the years before and the remarkable 50 years since their marriage. We'll do this in 4 parts, starting with sister number 2, Toby, then sister number 1, Kathy, then my littlest older sister, Naomi, and then me again. So, Toby.
After 50 years, it might seem to have been fated for Gladys and Jerry Rose to meet and marry.
But in fact, many events and individuals had to converge here in Saskatoon in order for our parents to have been born here, to have been married here, and to have lived here for their entire lives. Dad was born in Saskatoon. How did his parents arrive here? His father, Arthur Rose, left Galatz, Romania as a young teenager and traveled to the United States with his brother in the early 1900s. While working as a traveling salesman, he met Elsie Holtzberg, a teacher, who was born in Superior, Wisconsin. After marrying, they traveled together to Saskatoon and arrived in the depth of winter of 1913. They started Arthur Rose Limited, the family dry cleaning business. The family story is that they were enticed here by the promise of a wonderful climate. Our aunts, Myrna and Zoe, were born first, and then Dad, Gerald Ferris Rose. Grandma and Grandpa may not have been able to turn Dad into a violinist, but they did raise a son who memorized poetry, built ham radios, can fix almost anything, has a love of words and the dictionaries that house them, volunteered for the Canadian Army during World War II, is determined to always let friendship overcome disagreements, and raised 3 daughters and 1 son with uniformly high expectations of them. Mom was also born in Saskatoon, on the same side of the river, but definitely on the other side of the tracks. How did her parents arrive here? Her parents, Harry Sorokin Sarlin and Marcia Karchun, knew each other in Minsk, Belarus. Baba emigrated with her mother to Philadelphia in 1922, where an older sister lived. For 3 years, Zeta wrote to her every day. By 1925, he could no longer enter the U.S., so he came to Saskatoon, where he had a sister. Baba soon came to join him, and after they married, they lived above their small grocery store on the west side. Mom, Gladys Ruth Sarlin, was an only child. Baba and Zeta may not have been able to turn Mom into a seamstress, but they did raise a daughter who's interested in everyone's family history and stories, especially ours, has an intense love of our Jewish background, has subscribed to The New Yorker for almost 50 years, is still fluent in Yiddish, her first language, and raised 3 daughters and 1 son with uniformly high expectations of them. How did Gladys and Jerry meet? Dad had graduated from the University of Saskatchewan and had served in the Army as a first lieutenant. He says he covered 10,000 miles on the back of a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, and that's why he refused to allow any of us to ride a motorcycle. Then he returned to Saskatoon and joined Grandpa in the dry cleaning business. Mom was also busy during the war years, attending school and university and dating eligible young men of the district, including one Prince Albert of Belgium, who was stationed nearby. But Gladys' real prince had yet to arrive. Mom was still a university student when they met at a party. Apparently, Dad said, "I'm Jerry Rose." And Mom said, "So?"
Said, "So what?"
But they were engaged within months and married at the old Agudas Israel Synagogue 50 years ago today.
I'm Kathy Cooper, the oldest child. We 4 Rose kids are baby boomers. Born between 1949 and 1956, Toby, Naomi, David, and I had the kind of idyllic upbringing that's now nostalgically described by commentators. Mom stayed home, except for meetings, rehearsals of the play The Women, continuing education classes, trips to exotic destinations to combine dry cleaning conventions with shopping, the grocery store, and bridge games. Dad went to the plant, but always came home for supper, sometimes for lunch, and frequently to go to the bathroom. If you'd seen the bathroom at the plant, you would understand. Luckily for Mom and Dad, I was the first child. They didn't know that the only developmental benchmark I achieved on time was talking. But even I could walk before Toby came along, a gorgeous, curly-faced child whose clinging habit earned her the nickname of Laplander. Naomi's arrival was announced by Toby and me to the neighbors as our baby sister Miami. And David, the three of us treated him like a pet. He was so cute, I even took him to school for show and tell. Both Mom and Dad loved, still love, to learn new things, new ideas, new concepts, new words. Our suppers were constantly interrupted by the need to consult a dictionary. And Dad often brought a book of brain teasers to the table, a welcome diversion on nights when salmon patties were featured. Naomi maintains she doesn't remember the brain teasers, no doubt because she was concentrating on finishing her supper long after the rest of us had left the table and the kitchen was cleaned up. Our household was the last to have a television, not succumbing until 1962. Until then, we went to Baba and Zeta's house after school on Fridays to watch Mighty Mouse. Our evening entertainment often consisted of concerts and dances that we performed ourselves, first at 550 4th Avenue, and then in the mostly empty living room of 1602 14th Street. David did not get the crinolines or the black patent shoes he so fervently wanted in those days. And thankfully, for your sakes, as already mentioned, none of us is in the performing arts as adults. Our parents ran a tight ship. The shenanigans that we got into, despite their best efforts, will not be described here, lest their reputations be tarnished or their grandchildren get bad ideas. Those of us who are parents ourselves aspire to the same values, the same caring and loving attitude, the same degree of interest and concern that we experienced as children. We think that David and Marlene's children, Mira, Aaron, Isaac, and Noah, Toby and Les's children, Jonathan, Solomon, and Benjamin, and Jerry's and my children, Rebecca and Mark, are blessed to have our parents as their grandparents. Thank you.
How much stuff you've torn out of my
Your speech, I've ruined your speech. I'm sorry.
I'm Naomi, the youngest daughter, second from the youngest kid. My parents met, married, and made babies. What a domestic life. But life together for Mom and Dad also included friends. Many are here tonight. Some sent their regrets. Others, as is the nature of things over 50 years, are no longer with us. But tonight is a time for memories and brief speeches, as my siblings keep reminding me. So I know that all Mom and Dad's friends will understand if I can mention only a very few of them by name. And will also know that not being named is a function of brevity, not regard. First, the wedding party. Dad grew up close friends with the other founding members of the Good Behavior Club. The Buckhold boys, surprisingly, Sid, Alvin, and especially Seymour, who was Dad's best man. Miriam Raisin, whom Mom met at Hebrew School Kindergarten, was a bridesmaid. We're so glad that Mrs. Bookbinder, or Mrs. Bupple, as she'll always be to me, is here tonight. Two of Dad's ushers, Arnold Davidner and Duvy Davidner, are also here, and welcome to them. Phil Drabinski, another usher, was here for the 40th 10 years ago, but sent his regrets. He does, however, still have the wallet Dad gave him 50 years ago as a gift for being an usher.
same dollar, too.
Tuli Khan, unfortunately, the fourth usher, passed away recently. Mom was also attended by her sister-in-law, Zoe, and her late friend, Goldie Goldenberg, whose husband, Morris Brownstein, is here tonight with his wife, Myrna. Cyril Brownstein, I apologize. What did the friends do for fun? For one thing, they formed a bridge club, which met weekly for cards, food, and companionship. Miriam and Seymour Buckbold, Arnold and Mary Davidner, Ruby and Joe Rosenberg, hi Ruby, wherever you are, and Maury and Etty Wiss. Maury particularly is in my parents' thoughts tonight as he waits for surgery. I know my parents loved bridge, and we loved hanging over the banister eavesdropping on the grown-ups. What I can't understand is why none of us Rose kids ever acquired the love of bridge ourselves. Our home was also the venue for some of the monthly meetings of the White Elephant Club, Dad's investment group. There are a lot of white elephanters here tonight, too many to name. So if you could all wave your hands or your trunks, everyone else could see who you are. When the White Elephants met at 1602 14th Street, they met in our den, which was right underneath my bedroom. You would not have believed the noise. These guys drank, guffawed, and sang songs I remember but won't repeat. Did you ever make any money? You sure had a good time. And now for Mom and Dad's very best friends. Mom was an only child until she married, when she got the best sisters-in-law she could ever have hoped for, our elegant, intelligent aunts, Zoe and Myrna. Of course, they are both older than Mom, which makes Mom the youngest of 3 sisters and gives the 2 of us something wonderful in common. Just a second, sorry. And my uncles. Dad always wanted a brother, but he had to wait till his sisters married, when he got 2 of the most wonderful brothers in the world, Harry Levin and Nady Groper, whose absence we feel so much tonight. Yes, Mom and Dad are the Simcha Roses. A Simcha is a celebration, a party, a happy occasion, and our parents have always loved them. Their first big party was in their second home, a tiny second-floor, 1-bedroom apartment at 220 Saskatchewan Crescent West. It was a housewarming in September 1947. They invited 100 people who all showed up. Some of you were probably there. People stood in the bathtub, spilled down the stairs, and out onto the riverbank, starting a tradition of great rose parties. The Simcha Roses, always ready to go to a party, always ready to give one. Aren't you glad they gave this one tonight?
You tore my speech apart, too.
What can I tell you?
Well, Dad has come up twice now and said that we've stolen all his lines, so you won't have to hear from him later, I guess. Meanwhile, the years flew swiftly by. We, the children, grew up, finished high school, and went on to university. All 4 of us began university here in Saskatoon, right here at the University of Saskatchewan, and continued down east, as they say around here, in Toronto. Our departure allowed Mom and Dad to devote enormous time and energy to a range of pursuits, all of which can be described by a single word: community. Some of their activities were local, others were province-wide, and still others were national in scope. They have been active in both the Jewish community and the community at large. Mom, to mention a few of her many activities, has served as the president of the Saskatoon Jewish community and was the first woman to hold such a position in Canada. She has also been a member of the executive committee of an organization here called Multi-Faith Saskatoon, a group devoted to promoting understanding and tolerance among faiths. She is the chairperson of the Saskatchewan region of the Canadian Jewish Congress and since 1986 has been on the CJC's executive committee. She's a member of the board of directors of the Royal University Hospital Foundation and was a founding member of the board of the Saskatoon Region Community College. She has been honored by the City of Saskatoon, by the province of Saskatchewan, and by the Canadian Jewish Congress. Mum's a hard act to follow, but Dad, despite rarely getting a word of his own in at home, has done his share and more. He too has spent countless hours on behalf of the Jewish community in Saskatoon in various capacities and has vigorously supported the Saskatoon Jewish Foundation. More of Dad's time has been spent on community and even national events like the Western Canada Summer Games in 1979, the Canada Summer Games in 1989, and the Canadian Special Winter Olympics in 1992, all of which were held here in Saskatoon. He was a director of the Saskatchewan Heart Foundation for 13 years and its treasurer for 11. He too has been honored by the Jewish community of Saskatoon and the city of Saskatoon, and he received the Canada 125 Commemorative Medal in 1992. So Kathy and Jerry, Toby and Les, Naomi and Marlene and I, and all of our children have a lot to be proud of, to look up to, and to emulate. When Marlene and I were married in 1983, I mentioned in my speech that Dad was then wearing shoes that he bought before he and Mom were married. He's wearing... Okay, we're even. He's wearing them again tonight. It used to be the girls who would steal not let me speak. The shoes themselves are not so big, but symbolically his shoes and Mom's are big ones to fill. Mom and Dad have been an example to all of us always in their actions and in their character, in their love for their family, friends, and community, and especially for each other, for 50 years. Now, it's my pleasure to call upon the two eldest Rose grandchildren, Rebecca Cooper and Mark Cooper, to recite Hamotzi, the blessing over bread. Dinner will be served after the blessing. The program committee and I will be back later. In the meantime, please enjoy your meal, dance, mingle, renew old acquaintances, and make new ones. Mark and Rebecca.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Olam Hamotzi Lachagim Haaretz.
Let's start thou, Lord our God, King of the universe, who bring us forth. Blessed art thou, Lord our God, King of the universe, who bring us forth bread from the earth and friendship from the heart of people. Amen.
I could have everyone take their seats again for a few minutes. The program committee requests your participation. First, is louder. Portable mic's not working at all. First of all, while I think dessert is partially being served, we'll carry on with the second part of our program for tonight. Again, there won't be singing or dancing, be a little bit of entertaining, I hope. I've been asked by my dad to remind everyone to please sign the guest book if you haven't already done so. It is in the entranceway, and it's very important to my parents to know who's here and to remember who's here in the days and weeks and months and years to come. Now, hi. Not surprisingly, in a large group, there are others for whom August 25th is a special day, and I want to mention a couple of them now. First, today is the 5th birthday of Gabrielle Levin. Yeah, Isaac, today is her 5th birthday. She's 5. Gabrielle is the daughter of my cousin Daniel and his wife Lillian, and they live in Winnipeg. And today is also the wedding anniversary of Michael Levin and Ruth Mann, who live in Toronto. Tomorrow. I was told it was today. I apologize. Now, I'm sure that there are others in a group this size that for whom today is some occasion, a birthday, an anniversary. But they're too numerous to mention, and to all of those, as my Baba would have said, happy day. Now, there's also been messages of congratulations received from all over the country, and I'd like to mention several of them briefly. Messages have come from the Governor-General of Canada, Mr. Romeo LeBlanc, the Right Honourable Jean Chrétien, the Prime Minister of Canada, the Honourable Jack Wiebe, the Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan, the Premier of Saskatchewan, the Honourable Roy Romano, Ms. Georgette Sheridan, who's the MP for Saskatoon-Humboldt, Mr. Ron Osika, member of the legislative MLA and leader of the opposition, and His Worship Mr. Henry Dayday, the Mayor of Saskatoon. Messages of congratulations have also come from other organizations and agencies and committees to which my parents have lent their time. Messages have come from the Executive Officers Board and staff of the Jewish National Fund in Winnipeg, from the Executive of the United Israel Appeal in Toronto, and from the Canadian Jewish Congress, the United Synagogue of Conservative Judaism, and from the Israel Bonds. And a telegram was received today by Kathy and Jerry from Steve and Dorothy Wall, whose anniversary is today. Steve and Dorothy are close friends of the Rose family in Toronto, and they send their best to Mom and Dad. Now, what's the matter? Oh. What? In a few minutes, okay? It's traditional in the Jewish community at any gathering to take time to hear from the rabbi, and so I'd now like to call on Rabbi Pavey to say a few words.
A 50th wedding anniversary, of course, is significant and important for the couple and for the family, but also for the Jewish community to which they belong. Adonai ki tov ki l'olam chasto. Praise the Lord, for He is good, His love is everlasting. 50 years ago, in the presence of friends and family, Gladys and Jerry Rose joined together in a ceremony which consecrated their love for each other. their life together, their sharing of joys and sorrows, the lives of the children and the grandchildren with which you have been blessed, and their continuing devotion to each other have nurtured the promise of that first moment as they stood together beneath the chuppah. Our God and God of our fathers, we are grateful for the love with which you have blessed and sustained husband and wife, whose hearts today are filled with gratitude to you. May they continue to enjoy your blessing in the new song of their years to come, so that they may always live in joy and gladness, in love and harmony, in peace and companionship. And let us say Amen. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב הוא יברך את יעקב פייבל בן אברהם הלוי ואת אשתו בתרזל בת צבי הירש ומשה בעבור שבאו היום להודות לשם קודשו על כל החסד אשר גמל להם מיום חנותתם ומיום שמחתם עד היום הזה. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמרם ויצילם מכל צרה וצוקה, מכל נגע מחלה. יזכו לראות צאצאיהם עוסקים בתורה ובמצוות ובצורכי ציבור ובעניין ארץ ישראל באמונה. ישלח ברכה וצלחה בכל מעשי ידיהם עם כל ישראל אחיכם ונאמר Amen. May he who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac and Jacob bless Gladys and Jerry, who are here today with gratitude for all the love which God in his kindness has bestowed upon them since their wedding day. May the Holy One, praised be he, watch over them and deliver them from all trouble and distress, from affliction and illness. May they be privileged to see their offspring devoted to Torah, mitzvot, and the performance of good deeds. And may God bless and prosper them in all their worthy endeavors. And let us say, Amen. Of course, it is a tradition that on this special occasion of a wedding anniversary, we repeat for the bride and groom the Sheva Barachot, the 7 blessings, which was recited as they stood together beneath the chuppah 50 years ago. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol bara lichvado. Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who have created all things for your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer ha'adam. Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, creator of humankind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatza et ha'adam b'tzalmo b'tzelem demot tavnito. והקים לו ממנו בניין עדי עד, ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר האדם. Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who have created man and woman in your image, fashioning woman from man as his partner, that together they might perpetuate life. Praised are you, Lord, creator of humankind. Sos tasis v'tegel achara b'butz kan banea l'tocha b'simcha. Baruch atah Adonai Mesamech Zion bavaneha. May Zion rejoice as her children are restored to her in joy. Praised are you, O Lord, who causes Zion to rejoice at her children's return. Sameach tasamach reim ha'hovim, k'samecha tzirecha began Eden mikedem. Baruch atah Adonai Mesamech chatan v'chala. Grant perfect joy to these loving companions, as you did to the first man and woman in the Garden of Eden. Praise to you, O Lord, who grants the joy of bride and groom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bara sason v'simcha chatan v'chala gila rina ditza v'chedva ahava v'achava v'shalom v'riut. V'heira Adonai Eloheinu yishama ba'er Yehuda v'tchotzot Yerushalayim kol sason v'kol simcha kol chatan v'kol kala kol mitzalot chatanim mechumatam Benarim imishte neginatam. Baruch atah Adonai Mesamech chatan im hakala. Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who have created joy and gladness, bride and groom, mirth, song, delight and rejoicing, love and harmony, peace and companionship. O Lord our God, may there ever be heard in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem voices of joy and gladness, voices of bride and groom, the jubilant voices of those joined in marriage under the bridal canopy, the voices of young people feasting and singing. Praised are you, O Lord, who causes the groom to rejoice with his bride. And finally, as they renew, after 50 years, the marriage that they contracted so long ago, let them share again the wine that they shared beneath the chuppah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Amen.
Hello? I mentioned, once again before we go on, I want to remind people, I reminded people about the guest book, and again I want to remind you about the memorabilia in the entranceway and the slideshow. There's a package, I'm mentioning this because I did the work on this. There's a package about 4 or 5 pages of a key to the slides. If you watch the slides, you'll know who's in them. You may recognize yourselves in some. You certainly recognize Jerry and Gladys in many of them. I mentioned my 3 sisters earlier this evening, and you have now met and heard from all 3. But my parents now have 7 children, not 4. The first 2 additions came in 1972 when Jerry Cooper married Kathy, and in 1981 when Les Klein and Toby were married. These 2 to me were the brothers I'd never had, and as husbands, fathers, sons, and brothers, they've been terrific. In 1983, don't mind him. No. In 1983, I had the good fortune and foresight to marry the beautiful, charming, and wonderful Marlene Cates. Marlene and I had our 13th anniversary last Sunday, and we now have 4 terrific kids: Mira, Aaron, Isaac, and Noah. And I'd like to ask Marlene to speak on behalf of the children-in-law.
Is this the right height for me? These are my bodyguards. I am Marlene Cates, and tonight I am speaking not only on my behalf, but also on behalf of my 2 brother-in-laws, Jerry Cooper and Les Klein. We 3 are referred to as the outlaws, or in our lingo, the unroses. In order to maintain our sense of identity in this large and overachieving family, we were forced to resort to schoolyard tactics. Accordingly, we created a small but very exclusive club called the Unroses. Can you hear me? You see, before marrying our rose spouses, we naively thought of ourselves as 3 nice, albeit from the East, fairly intelligent, fairly accomplished professionals with identities of our own. Boy, were we wrong. It soon became clear that the most important thing we ever did was marry into this wonderful family. Our Unrose organization runs very smoothly, but for one real problem. The only real problem to date has been in dealing with the constant application by a certain Gladys Sarlin, who asserts that she meets the requisite requirements for membership. It is one thing to hear about how special parents are from their children, but it is quite another to hear them praised by the 3 spouses who joined the family by choice. I know I speak for the 3 of us when I say that from the very beginning, Jerry and Gladys accepted us and treated us as their own. Their warmth, kindness, and generosity and respect for the individuals we are is constant and appreciated. In addition to accepting us, they have also embraced our families, and especially their machatunim, Clara and the late Abraham Cooper, Anne and Joel Klein, who are here with us tonight, and my parents, Estelle and Marvin Cates, who are also here tonight. Gladys and Jerry exhibit a warmth, an ease, a naturalness that comes from meeting life's challenges together. I once read that when two people grow ever closer and yet retain all those special gifts that make each of them unique, they become an inspiration to others, a constant reminder of how beautiful love can really be. This is personified in the love between Gladys and Jerry. While the Rose family politely appreciates our other work, our most profound accomplishment has been our role as parents of Gladys and Jerry's 9 grandchildren. It is now my pleasure to introduce them to you because they have a message they want to deliver to their Mappa and Mappi. They are Rebecca and Mark Cooper, Jonathan, Solomon, and Benjamin Klein, and Mira, Aaron, Isaac, and Noah Cates Rose.
Come on, Noe.
Take him, sweetie, take him. That's the whole thing. No, I
We're the grandchildren of your wonderful hosts. They're our grandparents. We think they're the most.
2 of us are ladies, the rest of us are boys. All 9 of us love computers, baseballs, and toys.
Rebecca and Mark were the first to arrive. Jonathan, Solomon, and Benjamin made 5.
Mira, Aaron, Isaac, and Noah came along and added another FOA. We call him Mappi. It's Mappa for her. Their original names, that's for sure. We love when they visit. We always have fun. And sometimes there are presents for everyone. Happy to be here. The Bodhi Leonetti, Mappi and Mappa, we wish you another great 50.
What do you guys say?
Ready? We love you, Mappi and Mappa.
Thanks, kids. What? Yeah, go over there. You'll all recall that I explained how the 7 of us and our children came to be tonight's program committee. But a few weeks ago, Marlene said something at one of our meetings, most of which we giggled through, that we all immediately knew to be true. We wanted to mark this occasion in a more tangible way, to give my parents a gift that would capture what we felt was the essence of their lives, their birth here and their lifelong residence in Saskatchewan, their devotion to the city of Saskatoon and the Jewish community here and elsewhere, and their love for friends and family, and especially for each other. And so with their anniversary in mind, we commissioned a piece of art in the style of a Jewish wedding contract, or a ketubah, which symbolizes, we think, my parents' lives and the values they hold dear. And we'd like to present this gift now to them with love. We'll move the picture back to the next to the slide screen in the far corner, and you'll all be able to have a look at it later. I'll just describe it briefly. The border is of wheat, Saskatoon berries, and roses. My parents' names in Hebrew surround a gold Magen David with the number 50 inscribed within it. Below that, in Hebrew and English, is a quotation from the Wisdom of Ben Sira about love and marriage. At the bottom is the dedication to Gerald and Gladys from their children and grandchildren. And at the top is a blessing which I would like to read in Hebrew and in English. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, shechechianu vekimanu vehigianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has granted us life and sustained us, and has enabled us to reach this day. Whoops. And now, as they say, a word from our sponsors.
What has just happened is completely unexpected, and it's something that we will cherish for all the rest of our lives, as we will cherish the memories of our children's actions, words, and gestures this evening. Planning to talk on a subject for tonight about which you know absolutely everything, after countless numbers of others have spoken on the same subject, is somewhat daunting. The program committee for this evening, Gladys and my children, whom you have heard from, and their spouses, for a representative who spoke, gave me an opportunity to talk on the subject of my pre-married life and my life during the years starting at about 8 p.m. on August 25th, 1946, after which time I've been married to Gladys. According to the ketubah or marriage certificate that was reproduced at the front page of the invitation you received to this weekend festivities. I'm glad there is visible evidence, because frankly, I don't remember very much about our wedding. There are at least there are more than two witnesses here that were at our wedding, and I'm glad they can vouch for the fact that we are really married. Otherwise, the four people who spoke earlier would be really spoken in bad taste. This talk seems so simple. After all, who knows as much as I do about the 25 years of my life, and with the exception of Gladys, who knows more about the last 50 years. But the program committee didn't tell me what bits and pieces of that 75 years would be disclosed by everyone who spoke before me. Since I've been preempted on so much of this subject by so many speakers, and even by the slideshow that's going on out in the reception area, let me say right now that if I had known being married to Gladys would have been so wonderful, I'd have done it years before. But Gladys said it would have been against the law because she was a child bride as it was. Looking back, 50 years is such a short time to have been blessed by being married to the smartest, most loving woman I know, to having had with her, in the words of one of the comic strips that we have displayed, 40 most wonderful years. Looking back, I think Gladys and I have lived very successful lives and have had a very successful 50-year marriage. Just look around you. Here are our children and their children. Here are my sisters, who slightly more than 50 years ago became Gladys sisters. Every single one of our nephews and nieces are here, with the exception of 5, each of whom have a very good reason for not being here. Every one of our great nephews and nieces are all here. I think that signifies a successful marriage. Le dor vidor, from generation to generation. All of us are friends, and all are supporting and talking to one another. There are 2 or 3 there are 2 or 3 paragraphs that I'm going to omit because they're really not worth much. There are a number of people we would have liked to have had here tonight, but being unable to control fate or life or death, without naming them, we missed them all. Just a moment or two more. At our 40th anniversary party, my speech was much shorter because, after all, I was much younger. At that time, I ended my speech with a blanket invitation to all present to our 50th wedding anniversary. Our 50th wedding anniversary is now on, and we're celebrating it. And we're glad you're all here, but I am not going to extend an open invitation to our 60th anniversary. We'll see about that when that time comes. Thank you all. Thank every one of you for coming to honor Gladys and me. And now, as always, Gladys will have the last word.
I'm not often at a loss for words, as most of you know. And what can I say to all of you who are my family and my friends? We owe you so many thank yous for your presence here this weekend. Especially, we want to thank you in no order of importance, Rabbi Pavey, for his congratulations and his help with yesterday's Shabbat service. We want to thank our very close friends Elaine and Sherry Scharf for entertaining all our family and close friends at their home on Shabbat evening. Somehow they managed, as they always do, to set a tone for this whole weekend. We love you and thank you for everything. I want to thank our friend Colleen Columbia for her inspired ideas for our display. Her artistry and her artistic taste, for those of you who haven't seen today's paper, I recommend it to you. She had a rave review in today's local newspaper for a current exhibit of her very talented work. And I recommend, for those of you who are going to be around and in the city, to go to the gallery at Francis Morrison Library and see it for yourself. So thank you, Colleen, for helping me put that together in such a fun way. I also want to express, although Jerry's already said it, our pride. I guess one shouldn't admit to pride very openly. It's not supposed to be the right thing to do, but it's the honest thing to do. I want to say how proud we are of our children, our beautiful children, their spouses, and their children, and our extended family. The parents of those children who married ours, who are not all all of them here with us today, but Jerry mentioned them, and we're very, very happy to have them here. And even though he didn't name them, I'm going to do so. The people who are in our hearts and in our minds at this moment, who we remember with so much love and respect, and who shared so many of our happy times in the past. And we miss very much our dear brothers, Nady Groper and Harry Levin. There were also people who were part of our wedding party, who, even though that occasion was 50 years ago, and to the younger people here that may seem like a very, very long time, we have not forgotten those who participated and who are no longer amongst ours. I'm talking about the best man and our best friend at that time, Seymour Buckwold, and a very close friend of mine, one of my two closest friends, who was at that time Goldie Goldenberg, was Goldie Brownstein after her marriage. Thule Khan, who was mentioned earlier sometime today or yesterday, was one of the ushers at our wedding. And we're really very happy to have two of the ushers who were here then and are here now. Dovey Davidner, Dovey David obviously, but I've always known him as Dovey, and his brother Arnold. And I don't know where you're sitting, but would you stand up, and would Miriam please, oh, there's one of you anyway. Miriam Bookbinder, stand up. And Zoe Groper. Zoe was a matron of honor at our wedding, and I think we're very lucky to have all these wonderful people here with us tonight. 50 years is a long time. I also want to remember our parents at this time. They would have been so proud of our kids, who they thought were the absolute everything in the world. And they would have loved what's become of them. So I have to mention them in this little speech. And I want to say that it's from them that we learned, by their example, how to be married. They were wonderful partners to each other, and the example that they set us was the kind that we followed. We didn't know any other way to behave. So I think of them with a lot of love and respect. One of our grandchildren said not long ago, not to me, but I was told about it, where does the past go? Where does the past go when it's gone? And I thought that was a wonderful question, and a very difficult one to understand, with a lot of depth to it. I'll tell you where it's gone, Mira, because she's the one who asked the question. It's not gone. It's in our memories. It's all stored away there somewhere, and it's not gone. It's in our heads and in our hearts. This isn't exactly what I had written down, I want you to know. I want to tell you one little anecdote on a lighter note. When Jerry and I decided to get married, I was pretty young and pretty naive, although I thought I was all grown up. And my mother-in-law-to-be, Jerry's mother, said to me, I think this marriage was bashert. So for those of you who don't know what that word means, it's a Yiddish word meaning fate, fated. It was fated. I was too young to know that I should have just smiled and not said anything. I said, however, because I always say what I want to say, I don't know, I said. If he hadn't come along, I think somebody else might have come along. Well, so what can I say? I'm very grateful that he was the one who came along. and that nobody else came along, and that here we are, 50 years later, we're still standing together, and we thank you. And that's it.
My mother wants everybody to sit down. And you better do what she says. Hang this up here. We'll just conclude this, the program for this evening with the Birkat Hamazon. Afterwards, the party will continue. Please enjoy yourselves, dance, drink, again, make new acquaintances, renew old ones, and have a great time.
On the tables, you will find 2 benchers. We have the one in the blueprint is the one we're going to follow, and the other one, the pink one, starts at page 10.
Shir hamalos teshuv Adonai et shivat Zion hayinu kecholim az yimales chok pinu ulshonenu rina az yomru v'agoyim higdil Adonai lasot melech Higdil Adonai lasot imanu, hayinu semechim. Shuv Adonai et shevitenu kafikim ba'negev. Azorim bedima verina yiktoru. Haloch yelechu v'achol nose meshech hazara bo yavo berina nose alumotav.
Rabotai nevarech.
Yehi Shem Adonai mevarach me'ata v'ad olam.
Bereshut Rabotai nevarech et shachalnu mishalo.
Baruch Eloheinu shachalnu mishalo v'tuvo chayinu.
Baruch hu Baruch Shemo.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hazan et haolam kulo b'tuvo b'chein b'chesed u'vrachamim. ונותן לחם לכל בשר כי לעולם חסדו ובטובו הגדול תמיד לא חסר לנו ויחסר לנו מזון לעולם ועד בעבור שמו הגדול כי הוא אלזן ומפרנס לכל ומטיב לכל ומכין מזון לכל בריאותיו אשר ברא ברוך אתה אדוני hazon es hakol. Together at the bottom of page 2.
We thank you, Lord our God, for the pleasing, ample, desirable land which you gave to our ancestors, for the covenant and Torah, for life and sustenance. May you forever be praised by all who live, and as is written in the Torah, when you have eaten your fill, you shall praise the Lord your God for the good land which he has given you. Praised are you, O Lord, for the land and for sustenance. Uvenei Yerushalayim ir HaKodesh b'meira v'yameinu, Baruch atah Adonai, Bonei berachamav Yerushalayim, Amen. Praised are you, Lord our King, ruler of the universe, who is good to all, whose goodness is constant throughout all time. Favor us with kindness and compassion, now and in the future as in the past. May we be worthy of the days of the Messiah. Harachaman hu yivarech et haaretz hazot ve'yagen aleha. Harachaman hu yivarech et acheinu b'nei Yisrael hantunim v'tzara v'yotzim me'afela le'ora. Harachaman yivarech et medinat Yisrael reshit tzmicha geulateinu. V'nisa b'rachamet Adonai Yutzedakah Elohei Sheinu Nimtzachem b'sechel tov b'nei Elohim v'Adam Oseh shalom b'mromav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru Amen. May we receive blessings from the Lord, loving kindness from the God of our deliverance. May we find grace and good favor before God and all people. May he who brings peace to the universe bring peace to us, to all the people Israel, and to all humankind. And let us say, Amen.
And I said we couldn't sing. But we won't sing any further. Please enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you one and all for coming. And dance.
The